Guys, I just realized my microphone was off the whole entire time and you guys could not hear anything I was saying. I'll be back. All right. Okay, we're good to go. Sorry, guys. I just realized my microphone was off the entire time and you guys couldn't hear me. I am so sorry, guys. My name is Rob Salso. I am an admin for Extreme Weather Videos. Um, and today we're going to be talking about the severe weather potential here over the next couple days. It looks like today we have a slight risk, as you can see here, for portions of Texas, Louisiana, actually just Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and western portions of Mississippi and Tennessee. So we do have some severe weather coming up here in the next couple days, especially today here, as you can see here. Looks like our tornado risk, we do have a 5% hatch risk here for portions of southeast Oklahoma, central Arkansas, northwest Mississippi, and western Tennessee. We have a SIG 1 here near the Dallas Fort Worth. So if you're in those areas, keep a close eye on that today. And we have a surrounding kind of outlining today's slight risk for portions of Dallas, Memphis, up into western um, Tennessee and northwest Mississippi. And then we have also a larger area here for a significant 15% hail event in portions of Fort Worth, Dallas, up into western, northeast Arkansas. So it looks like our major threat today is going to be an isolated conditional tornado risk and a wind and hail risk across the area. So, but that is not all, everybody. We also have an enhanced risk tomorrow for portions, Ziggy, stop. For portions of the Dixie Alley, northeast Louisiana, central Mississippi, and central Alabama. So if you're living in those areas, keep a close eye on that tomorrow. We do have a better tornado risk here. We have a SIG 1, 10% for portions of Birmingham, Jackson, Tuscaloosa, Hoover, and Monroe, Louisiana. As for our wind risk, it's pretty broad for tomorrow, all the way from East Texas up into western Georgia near Atlanta. And for the hail, we do have a SIG 1, 15% for portions of eastern Texas into central and eastern Mississippi. So as we look at our radar, we do have, let me go ahead and switch that for you guys. I was looking at this earlier, but you guys couldn't hear what I was saying. I was like, wait, am I sure they can hear me? I'm like, nope, they cannot hear me. So again, I am so sorry, guys. It's been a very busy last week or so that I forgot to even have that turned on. So now you guys should be able to hear me, and I checked it and it's good. So I was talking about we did have actually a severe thunderstorm warning up here in Maine today. We do have a line of storms, pretty decent line of storms here for portions of Maine just west of Patton. We do have a marginal risk here too. I forgot to outline that today. So we do have a marginal here for portions of northern Pennsylvania up into Maine and portions of New England. So we do have that also today. Biggest threat for that's going to be wind and an isolated tornado threat. But that's what we have for this area today here. We did have an SVR, like I said, just west of Millinocket and Medway. We do have a couple storms here also here in northern New Hampshire. We do have a special weather statement here for portions of Coos and Grafton counties. Wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour near this area. We could see a severe thunderstorm warning for this portion of the line. And we also have some storms here just west of Hudson in New York. Biggest threat here is going to be some gusty winds. And we also have an area of drier conditions of relative humidity up down to 30 to 40%. So could see some, well-needed rainfall for these areas, but definitely with a windier portion, which could be dangerous. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And we also had a mesoscale discussion issued here earlier on today. 40% chance of a watch for portions of northwest Texas into central North Texas. Could see an intensifying supercellular 2 near the area from 5 to 7 p.m. in the Metroplex. I will not be live here that long, unfortunately, but I will be here for the next hour and a half or so. We do have one of our team members, Steven, expected to come into the live and kind of cover all this with us today. But that's not the only thing we have going on today, guys. We have a major winter storm event here for portions of Colorado. So let's kind of take a look at what they're expecting here. We do have a winter storm warning here in effect for portions of central Colorado. Heavy snow up to 16 inches along north of I-70, along Summit County, the Mosquito Range, Indian Peaks Wilderness, and Southern Front Range foothills until 3 p.m. on Wednesday tomorrow. So we could see some pretty heavy snowfall. We're already seeing a little bit of snowfall here, as you can see here. Not a lot, but a little bit of scattered snowfall just near Castle Rock and Denver. If you live near Denver, you are going to be in a winter storm warning. Could see some snow near the foothills up to 8 to 10 inches, 8 to 12 inches. So could be a very interesting late season snow event here tonight and tomorrow in Colorado and portions of Wyoming, as part of those areas are under a winter storm watch for the snowy range. So wow, yeah guys, a late spring snow system for the Cascades and or not the Cascades, but the Rocky Mountain area. So definitely could be something to keep on. And as this kind of moves east, this upper level trough, we are going to start to see some more severe weather here for portions of Texas all the way into Georgia. So that is going to be the severe weather threat here for tomorrow. But today, like I said, going to be mostly an isolated threat for tornadoes. If we do see tornadoes today, I think they're going to be here in Arkansas, but we could see something here in Texas as well. The thing I'm worried about here in Texas is our lapse rates. We do not have very, very good lapse rates, and I'll kind of show you guys that here in just a minute. So we'll take a look at the lapse rates today here in Texas. They are not very impressive. Let's see. We'll stay on the 19Z because we have more data. So let's go here, and we'll go to lapse rates. So as you can see here, the lapse rates are, I mean, they're decent, right? But if you look at your surface lapse rates, they are not very great. Now, as we get to later on today, they kind of just, as that cold front crashes in, they kind of go down quite a bit. And our lapse rates are not that strong. If we take a sounding, let me kind of just take a sounding here. Let me kind of go forward a little bit. If we take a sounding like right here, right? I mean, if you look down here, 5 Celsius per kilometer. You want to see usually somewhere between 6 and 8 Celsius per kilometer for large hail and very good instability rates. I mean, our shear is very much directional in the surface, more speed in mid to upper layers. Very strong mid-level flow. I think we'll see some storms moving about 40 to 50 miles per hour today. As we look at our mid-level flow and height pattern. As you can see here, we have pretty strong west-southwesterlies. And look at how strong they get even into tonight. Look at that, guys. Even our low-level jet, we'll look at that in a minute. But look at our westerlies. 50 knots, 45 knots, even up here into portions of Missouri. I mean, we could see storms pretty quick here, which is definitely a good thing for those who don't want storms all night. So, but we will have severe weather into portions of Arkansas, as we can see here with our reflectivity. They are expecting some pretty strong severe storms as we get into later on tonight, around 6 to 7 o'clock. So right around dinner time, guys, could see some storms linger in northern Arkansas, as you can see here on the models. Again, this is just a model, but we are expecting some pretty widespread coverage of severe weather all the way until tomorrow morning for portions of Arkansas. So definitely could be seeing some interesting weather there. Taking a quick sound, we do have a wow, look how close the dew and temperature line is. 66 and 67 degrees. So could see some pretty interesting weather here. Look at our lapse rates, 4.5 Celsius. That's very meager for what you need for large hail. We have no large hail as analogs for this area, given everything we see here. Good shear, 68 knot shear, but what we don't have is we don't have great CAPE and we don't have great LCLs. And also, we don't have great lift either. We have really good mid-level support, but our upper-level support, really not that great. it's strong, but it's not. It's almost too strong in a way. So we do have upper level support, but as you can really see here, it's kind of just spotty. So very strong upper level winds, very strong mid level winds. Surface level winds are not going to be that strong, but we do have a low level jet starting to increase over the later night hours, especially into portions of Memphis. So I mean, we could definitely see um, some type of tornadic activity possibly into Western Tennessee, given everything else that goes on. But I think our biggest area for tornado potential today is going to be southeast Oklahoma into northwest Arkansas for our tornado potential tonight. So that is what I'm looking at here. Let's go ahead and take a look back at our radar so you guys can see what's going on. Again, we have no SVRs, no tornado warnings at this time. And we are watching this area here in Texas. So let's go back. So maybe something a little bit like right here. Possibly. We'll have to keep an eye on that. So if you guys have any questions for us, don't hesitate to let us know in the chat. We are now live with my voice. You guys can hear me now, hopefully. Like I said, I do apologize. I don't know why you couldn't hear me before. I guess I forgot to unmute my mic, but hope you all are doing well today and staying safe. All right. It looks like we also have a special weather statement up here in Ohio. This expires in 5 minutes. This is near the London area, so maybe see an SVR with this. I'm not too sure. Could be possible, but also have some showers here uh, near or Indiana rather, in Illinois. So, but like I said, our biggest severe weather potential is going to be down here in Fort Worth, Texas, all the way up into Memphis. So if you're in those areas, keep a close eye. Make sure you have multiple ways to receive alerts overnight tonight, as we have severe weather on the increase here tomorrow and tonight, all across Dixie Alley and the South. A couple chasers over here. We got Adam Lucio near Ozark, Jared Pappenheim near Russellville. So we do have some chasers getting ready for tonight's severe weather. Like I said, nothing quite yet, but we are slowly keeping an eye on that area. I guess one thing we could look at is our surface observations and kind of what things are looking like on the mesoanalysis side. So mesoanalysis, for those who don't know, this basically shows our current conditions here. And as you can really see here, we do have this perturbated area of a upper level shortwave trough. We're gonna start seeing severe weather from this area here in the next couple hours. We just don't have that yet. If we take a sounding here, let me kind of get that so you guys can see. I'll try to take a sounding. Trying to find where I can take a sounding at so you guys can see. Let's go to and share surface base gate. I forgot how to take a sounding on here. Oh, you just tap it. Okay. So let's go let's go right here. So as you can see here from our SCU-T, we still do have a decent cap in the atmosphere. And as we go up a few hours, that cap is expected to break. But as for now, we do have a very decent cap in the atmosphere. If we look over here in Arkansas, again, you see where these lines kind of go west and east, the dew point line, the temp line. The red one's the temp line, the dew point's the green one. That means we do have a cap here that is preventing storms from initiating. And that cap is going to be most likely breaking here in the next hour. Possibly here in portions of Texas. If we look at our shear, we have very good, surface level shear, 41 knots to 56 knots here. Lapse rates are going to be pretty decent, but not very, very close together and not very high in temperature gradients. We do have good CAPE, not very sufficient CAPE, but we have decent CAPE in the atmosphere. And we do have meager but okay SRH and STP. So we'll keep a close eye on that for you guys. Hopefully, you guys are staying safe tonight and throughout tomorrow. Like I said, decent hodograph, very long, which is what you'd like to see in this type of situation. But like I said, it's gonna be very one of those steps where it's kind of a if you get it, you get it. Kind of a mixed bag, kind of severe weather today. So this is our 925 millibar, kind of showing the surface level uh, area here, where we do have some do have a little bit of some troughing going on, so we could see that start to take impact here. Could see a strengthening of a low level jet here as we get into later on tonight. So that will help heighten the wind damage threat with a cluster or a MCS later on tonight. So that is what we are looking at right now in terms of surface observations here from the SPC Metascale analysis. So we'll be live for another hour yet, guys. Again, any questions we'll be appreciating to answer. Again, my name is Rob Salsa. I am an admin for Extreme Weather Videos, and I hope you guys are doing well today. It's been a pretty good day so far. Getting ready for the severe weather coming up here tomorrow. I'm hoping we get some rain too here in Florida. I'm in Florida. If you guys know, I'm near the Tampa area, so we're in desperate need for some good rainfall down here. Probably not going to see it, to this week, but we do also have a marginal risk on Thursday, so that makes me a little bit optimistic. We could see something this weekend, but for right now, it is quite a little too far for that. And as for severe weather after that, we don't know pretty much after this. Could see some more troughing east of the Rockies in the next few days, suppressing transport of Gulf moisture. So, could see a little bit of another lull in activity this weekend and some more severe weather possibly into next week after that. So, we are keeping an eye on that and we'll keep you all updated here throughout the week. Again, if you guys want to check us out on our Discord, we do a lot of learning and interaction there. We do live streams, pretty much every other week or every week for severe weather. It's extreme weather videos. Search it up on Discord. It is a great place for you guys to hang out, check out our content, and see what we do over here on our team. Would love to have you in there with us, guys. Definitely love to have you. So I'll be back in a little bit. Just gonna kind of keep the radar on, kind of take a look at things, and we will be back with y'all in just a minute. We'll go over here in New York and or Maine and kind of look at this little area here. So we'll be back in just a minute. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. I just wanted to show this picture here from the National Weather Service in Caribou, Maine. It looks like they had a nice little shelf cloud just near the area. Just wanted to show you guys that for just a second. That actually looked pretty cool. So just thought I'd show you all that for a minute. Anyway, we're back on the radar here. We are looking at this line of storms here approaching the Dover Forecroft area and also Skowhegan in Maine. Again, not seeing a lot of severe weather just right at this moment here into New England, but that could change soon, especially with this activity just to the west of it. That is coming up through that area right now. So I'm kind of curious to see the rainfall rates here, kind of what they're looking at. Little spotty areas here, some pretty light to moderate, pretty light rainfall rates. So that's good that they're getting a little bit of rain for that area with the red flag warning. So that's a good thing that they're getting that. So portions of Berlin, New Hampshire, getting up to a quarter to almost a half of an inch of rain. So definitely some decent rainfall in the areas ongoing here in New England. As for here in Texas, we have nothing on yet. That will change. As you can see here, we have this cold front kind of pushing out to the east southeast with this low pressure. And our triple point's going to be just near the McAllister area, with the southern flank being where the severe weather potential is going to be. So once that kind of shifts down to the south a little bit, we'll start to see some initiation with that shortwave trough. Again, it's going to be just kind of get the drawing out. Shortwave trough just going to be down near this area. So once this kind of reaches down more and kind of pushes more to the east, we'll start to see more severe weather kind of uptick here for these areas. So that is what we are watching, ladies and gentlemen. We are watching for the next hour for severe weather initiation here in Texas. Possible. Again, this is possible because there's only a 40% chance of that watch being issued. So we don't know if the cap's going to break. If the cap doesn't break, we might get a prolonged start to the severe weather tonight. That's going to change quite a bit. Let's kind of take a look at the new 20Z model. Kind of see what they're hinting at for severe weather wise. Let's see. Switch over. Okay, so let's take a look at our new model. So this is newest model 20Z. Next hour, nothing much. Next, so it looks like things start kicking off here around 6 to 7 o'clock. So a little bit later on. Cells looking a little better. There's your dry line off to the west, kind of pushing out there. So could see some decent activity there in Arkansas starting around, what is that? Right around 9 o'clock Central. So yeah, it does look like Texas, for the most part, is going to be kind of on the compared to Oklahoma and Arkansas, kind of on the weaker end here. So let's take a look here on this cell here, northeastern Texas. I mean, it's not looking that great for the dynamics. I mean, you do have little decent little surface analog here. Your lapse rates aren't that great though. I mean, your cape is only 110. That's very, very low. So I do think they should have pushed the slate a little bit to the northeast here. I think Texas should have been in the marginal. From looking at this, I mean, let's kind of look right here at this cell. Now I'm kind of curious. Let's look at this guy right here. Okay, this one's 3,000. All right, so this is looking a lot better. Look at your PW, 2.29. That's very, very HP. I mean, that's wow. And look at your lapse rates, much better. 6.5. That's what you want to see for your lapse rates. Very, very small nuance in that mid-level to low-level lapse rates. Could see some pretty large hail, 2.75 inch, and that was compared to 1996. So definitely could see some decent hail. Look at your your little skew T table. Very, very close. And this is a pretty good sounding. Your shear's pretty good. Your LCLs are pretty low. These are gonna be surface based for the most part. This is looking really, really good. Could see something possibly here just near the Fort Worth area. So could see an isolated cell here. Probably try to turn tornadic, maybe. But honestly, after that, I'm not seeing a whole lot. I think Arkansas is going to be the winner today when it comes to tornado potential. You can see kind of a UH track over there. Let's kind of take a look at our UH tracks. So updraft helicity, where you could see updrafts today. Look at that. See those two streaks up there in Arkansas? That's what I'm saying. I think Arkansas is going to be the big winner today when it comes to tornado potential, if there's any. That's the key word. If any, where would a tornado be? This model is saying Arkansas. So we'll see if that occurs. Like I said, this is just a model, but it's good to have a little bit of a reference to see what could be the case later on today, as this will most likely be a nocturnal event. Let's look at our tornado SIGs here for tonight. Yeah, look at that. Wow. So, I mean, they're pretty up there. We're talking 3.8 here in Central Arkansas. I mean, that is pretty decent. Pretty decent, if I had to say myself. But not too high. But like I said, we'll keep an eye on that here. Very short window of severe weather tonight. I mean, it's gonna once that cold front pushes it out, it's gonna be very, very, wind threat, and then, kind of like right now, just a few SVRs, nothing too, So there's that. So I just want to show you guys that, just to kind of see what they're kind of thinking about for tonight. It's always good to have a little bit of reference to see what the models are thinking. Okay, so down here in Texas, maybe a little bit here near Abilene. It's still kind of unknown what's going to happen here. But the cap is still in place. So I think we're going to get off here in about 20 minutes or so. I just want to kind of talk about tomorrow's severe weather and kind of give you guys a heads up that you need to make sure you have multiple ways to receive alerts into the evening hours and into tomorrow, of course. That's a very important thing to note here. So make sure you have that in place. Like I said, one thing I've always learned when it comes to weather, guys, and one thing that's very important is it only takes one storm with those kind of conditions that we just saw to be something that you need to watch. So just make sure you have a weather radio, have your phone. Your phone's important. Make sure you have, multiple ways to get those alerts tonight, whether it's a tornado warning, severe thunderstorm warning, large hail, damaging winds, flooding is a threat. I don't think it will be tonight compared to tomorrow, but those are things to consider tonight when you go to bed. Make sure you have something to wake you up and say, hey, you need to be in shelter right now. So that's the point that we try to drive home here at EWV, is to keep everybody safe and everybody informed. So that is a very important aspect of what we do here at EWV, for sure. So I'm going to keep this on here for a little bit, kind of wait for things to get started. But if you guys have any questions, do not hesitate to let us know. We're going to kind of just keep the radar here, kind of just looking at everything we got going on. And we will be back here in about maybe 10 minutes. Maybe if Steven comes on, we'll come back. And if not, we'll be back here in a little bit. See y'all soon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. Just took a little break here. So we're still waiting for severe weather to start kicking off. We are seeing some storms still here in Ohio and also up into Maine and Vermont. Like I said, nothing severe at this point. We do have that Mezco discussion also down here in Texas. It looks like things are going to start kicking off a little bit later on today, maybe around the 5 to 7 p.m. Central time frame. So any minute now, the next half hour or so. So just ahead of a southward moving cold front, Wichita Falls, stronger surface heating and deeper boundary layer mixing are ongoing in a narrow corridor roughly around the I-20 along Abilene to Fort Worth. Attempts at convective development are underway within the regime for west northwest and mineral wells. Low level forcing, first maybe aided by weak low level warm advection and locally enhanced convergence near the general intersection of the cold front and the dry. So this is basically what they're saying is that storms are trying from the shortwave trough to initiate. They're trying to get their act together. They're trying to, uh, given the small amount of moisture that's in the area, trying to develop and start to initiate. But it looks like, for the most part, things are struggling a little bit, and that's because we don't have a lot of good convective development in the mid level and very shallow low level moisture plume. So the moisture is not as strong. Um, we do have dew points in the 70s, but you know the the quality of the moisture isn't as strong today. So that's kind of why we're seeing things kind of slowly start to initiate more than rapidly initiate today. But we do have decent moisture. It's just not a very good quality moisture. It's more of a latent heat than a fastly advecting heat, like we would see from like a moderate or an enhanced wrist. I think tomorrow's going to be a better theta E advection, um, which needs latent heat to, advect. We'll learn more about that later. But as you can see here, things are kind of not going as much here. We do have some storms here. And freeze warnings up here in Utah and Colorado. But other than that, and other than our storms up in Maine, not seeing a whole lot of initiation here at the moment. So, like I said, we'll be keeping an eye on that here. We do have some storms, kind of showers and some scattered storms up here in New York near Albany. As we looked at a little bit ago, we had some quarter-inch rain from the radar reports. Nothing too much there. Decent little storms here over near Ansville and Camden, New York. Other than that, not seeing a whole lot right now for those areas at this point. So we'll be keeping an eye on that for you guys here. Also up in Ohio, looks like we did have some damage here from some storms up there, Landon and Alexa. So we did have probably some wind report damages up there. But our only strong storm we have here in Ohio is this one near Hilliard, moving northeast at 45, gusts up to 40. So that's what we have up there at this point, guys. So oh, let me take off the BRB thing since I don't have that anymore. Hold on one second. There we go. So like I said, guys, I kind of want to look at our models for the snow. I know we looked a lot about the severe weather, but I want to kind of look at our snow and our ice for portions of Colorado. Like I said, we have very, very uh, heavy snow coming in for those areas. So let's kind of take a look at that. So 24-hour snow. As you can see, portions of Colorado up here near Denver. We have almost 7 inches of snow here just in the next, few hours here. As we get into tomorrow and later on, new amounts up here into portions of Nebraska, southern Wyoming, and portions of Colorado up to another few inches of snow. So we could see snow up to a foot or higher in some of the lower elevations here in those areas. I think they also have a winter weather advisory that we just saw here. Uh, as for ice not really gonna be a hazard. Maybe a little bit of a spotty ice event, but I think the most thing we're gonna see here is some snow depth. Will be increasing here for portions of Colorado. I mean, 17 to 21 inches of snow here up in the foothills and higher elevations. Not out of the question at all here for tomorrow and into tonight. So that's why we have that multi-dynamic system where we have the snow here and the severe weather out to the south and southeast here. So that is the kind of system we are dealing with here today. So if you just now joined, my name is Rob Salso. I am a admin for EWV. We are previewing the severe weather here for the next couple days for portions of the Southern Plains into the Dixie Alley. Excuse me. So we're still kind of waiting for things to get going here. Again, we do have a decent amount of instability today for portions of Texas. That will kind of extend with time into Arkansas. Not a lot of instability. If we look at our mix layer, we do have some decent instability, but it is not very, very plentiful as it will be tomorrow. If we look at our last full model, we can kind of see that here. So let's kind of look at today. This is all today, and then tomorrow we have a resurgence of that moisture and instability into portions of Mississippi, Alabama, and we'll kind of switch over here so you guys can kind of see what we're looking at. So, like I said, much better mix layer instability and surface layer cape tomorrow. Look at that surge of cape here as we get to tomorrow. Just wow. We're looking at 3,000, maybe up to 4,000 joules per kilogram of surface based cape. When we look at bulk shear is going to be very plentiful tomorrow. Look at that. Very much strong shear. Almost 90, almost 100 knots here in southeastern Arkansas. I mean, that is very, very high shear for tomorrow. So definitely looking at a better tornado potential here tomorrow. I mean, look at this for portions of Mississippi, guys. Could see some sig tours up in the 6, 7, and 8 range tomorrow. I mean, look at that. Let me kind of get up there. 5.4. This is for tomorrow. I mean, look at that. Wow. Look at that photograph. That is very, very long. That is exactly what you want to see for tornadoes tomorrow. Very much a loaded gun sounding, especially with your directional shear. Look at that. Southerly winds in the surface and then going up to westerlies in the upper levels. That is exactly what you want to see for tornado potential. Very good shear, very good lapse rates. So that's just one little area we could see tornado potential tomorrow. Also, possibly into eastern Mississippi near Meridian as well. So I think Alabama, Mississippi going to be seeing very much a very high potential for tornadoes tomorrow compared to today. So just wanted to keep an eye on that. I mean, look at that. Wow. Look at that. Man. So again, just a model, but just thought I'd, show you guys that and kind of keep an eye on that for tomorrow, guys. We will definitely let you guys know how that goes tomorrow. But as for today, slight risk for portions of Texas up into Arkansas and Mississippi and Tennessee, as you can see here. So there's that. So we're still keeping on this little severe weather statement up here in Ohio. Like I said, they did put out a new one here near Westerville, Ohio. Wind gusts up to 50. Okay, so the wind gusts are increasing. Could see a severe thunderstorm warning for the area. So if you live near Mount Vernon, Fredericktown, Chesterville, Ohio, keep an eye on this special weather statement for some gusty winds up there in the area. So definitely keep a close eye on that. definitely keep a close eye on that. So again, we'll be back in a little bit. Just wanted to give you all a quick update on that. If you have any questions, we will be here. All right, guys, I'm back yet again. Again, we are keeping an eye on this little area here just near Columbus, Ohio, and Newark. No severe thunderstorm warning at this time, but we are monitoring these storms as they progress through the afternoon. Again, if you just now joined us, my name is Rob South, so I am an admin for EWV, looking at the radar as we are keeping an eye on the severe weather potential for today. We do have a slight risk for portions of Texas up into Mississippi Valley. I can show you guys that again. So the biggest risk again today is going to be um, hail, but we'll look at each risk today just to kind of recap. So again, we have a 5% tornado risk with a conditional intensity 1 risk for portions of, again, Nashville, Hot Springs, Little Rock, up into Memphis. This is mostly going to be an evening event today. As we look at our wind risk, we also have an area here of 15% with a hatched 1 risk area here in Dallas, Arlington, Fort Worth area. Those areas need to keep a close eye on the storms developing soon from this Mexico discussion. Surrounding that, we have a regular 15% all the way up into Memphis, Tennessee. Surrounding that with a 5% wind risk. And then for hail, we do have a hatched area all the way down here near Rock Springs and Del Rio, all the way up into near Forest City and Jonesboro, Arkansas. So that is going to be our biggest risk of today is large hail today, possibly up to 3 inches. for portions of those areas. Currently have some chasers out there in the field, not looking at too much right now, just kind of staging for tonight. There's Pappenheim. We also have Adam Lucio up there. So we are keeping a close eye on that here as we get through the after evening. Not seeing a whole lot of activity at the moment, but we are expecting that to change here. We do have a little bit of something possible here just south of Del Rio, but look at our dew points, guys. 72, 75. Very broad warm sector. The only issue is that the quality of this latent heat is not very great. And that cold front's going to be moving down, and it's going to be stabilizing conditions further south and east. So we'll see very quick moving storms associated with that lift. Again, we also have some storms up here in a line near Farmington, Maine today. They have a marginal risk here, as you can see, for portions of New England and Maine. We have an area here of 2% tornado risk, wind risk, and hail risk. So the biggest risk today is going to be all three, basically. I think wind's going to be the biggest, and then tornado, and then hail. That's my guess, but so far, pretty limited activity up here in New England as of now. We do have some storms up here in Columbia, Missouri. Nothing too crazy, just some scattered showers here. Might see a couple spotty areas and some marginal hail, but other than that, not much for right now. Oh, and we do have a new Mexico discussion here for portions of Arkansas and Oklahoma. A likely watch here, 80%. A tornado threat is expected to develop early this evening across parts of north central Arkansas. Large hail and severe winds will be possible. A watch will be issued soon for the area. So I do believe that we will have a live coverage more tonight. I do believe Joey did tell me he will be here, so we could have Joey go live later on tonight. Steven and some other members of our team might also join me here until around 6:30 or so. I'll be live for another half hour to an hour here. So now that we have the Mexico discussion, I will be on for a little bit longer to watch this area down here in Texas, as this will be the first area possibly to see severe weather increase as we get through the next hour or so. So if you just now joined us, we do have a new Mexico discussion here in Arkansas. Potential for severe weather is increasing for these areas. This includes Little Rock, Conway, Searcy, Fort Smith. If you're in those areas, keep an eye on. We do have a cell here just to the west of Greenwood near Spiro and Panama in Oklahoma. So that could be possibly something to keep an eye on for a severe thunderstorm warning or more here later on this afternoon and evening. So we'll keep an eye on that, guys. We will keep an eye on that. So, yep. So National Weather Service the National Weather Service says severe weather, tornado threat is expected to develop soon with a watch needed. I guess one thing we can look at, guys, is our temperature anomalies for the next week or so. We can kind of take a look at that, just so you guys can know. So here's our climate anomalies for temperatures. As you can see, very warm conditions out west. That snow probably not going to last very long there in Colorado. Portions of Arizona, Vegas, Nevada going to be seeing possibly another heat wave here as we get into later on in May. Up here in New York, going to see below average temperatures into Ohio and portions of Mississippi valleys. Um, so, and then down here in Florida, still baking. Here in Tampa, where I live, over there where Joey's at, average, conditions there for May. So could see some decent weather over there. As we get to the next couple weeks, conditions are continuing to warm in the central and southern United States and the western United States as well. Again, northeast staying pretty cool there up there in New England. As we look at our precipitation, going to be pretty much a little bit more rainfall, hopefully, here in Florida. That'd be pretty nice over there in Port St. Lucie. They had a lot of fire risk there in the last couple of weeks, so good to see them possibly getting some more rain. Also down here, portions of Texas getting their much needed rainfall. Continuing rain here in Illinois, Indiana, and portions of Wisconsin. Definitely not a good thing. They definitely don't need it after all that severe weather. Dry conditions out west, and then for the next couple of weeks, conditions continuing to get a little better here in the west, northwest, Pacific Northwest staying pretty dry. The rest of the country is going to be pretty above average precipitation. So that is what we were looking at here for the next couple weeks as we kick off May here. So just thought I'd bring that up for you guys so you guys can get a kind of an idea of what May is going to feel like. Again, this is just a forecast. Things could change. They very well may. So we will keep a very close eye on that, guys. Looks like we did have some wind damage reports here near the Columbus area. We have a report of 49-mile-per-hour winds near the Dublin-Franklin area here in Ohio. So the storm is trying to get up to 58 miles per hour, but it's been pretty under that here. So it's definitely trying to increase in intensity. We still have some storms here in portions of Lake, what's that, Lake Ontario, I think? Lake Erie, sorry, not Lake Ontario. Lake Ontario is up here, I think. So we also have this is Lake Ontario. So starting to see some storms pop up here in New York near Almira. This one's starting to look interesting, just west of Van Etten. Let's kind of take a look and see what this one's doing. The base is getting lower. That's something to keep an eye on. That's the top. But the base is lowering. That means that these are starting to become more surface-based. So definitely need to keep a close eye on those storms here at southern New York for possible severe weather. Even up here in central New York, starting to see these storms starting to pop up here too. Gotta keep an eye on these too, just near Boonville. Bases are getting lower. Could see some severe storms here start popping up here in New York. These are starting to fire off here along this warm front setup up here in New York. But we are still waiting down here for Arkansas and Texas. Still keeping an eye. So we are keeping an eye on this for you guys. All right, well, I think we're going to end things now, guys. It looks like things are pretty capped for these two areas. We'll be live later on tonight. Again, hope you guys have a great one. We will be back here around probably an hour and a half or so. I just don't see things kicking off here for another hour or so, and dinner time is approaching. So I will see you all later. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Rob Salso. I hope you all have a great day. Hold on one second. Appreciate you all. And we will see you all next time. Make sure you experience the stream with EWV. Make sure you have multiple ways to receive alerts tonight. And we will see you next time. Goodbye now.